Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us, and I hope you're all keeping well. We're going to be taking a bit of a look at Teams this afternoon. So if you haven't used it before, it's a really useful collaboration tool that we've rolled out over the last couple of weeks. My name's James Cordery. I'm an IT trainer, and I've also got Judy Rowbotham, who's the IT Training and Service Desk Manager, and Tim Jenkins, who's the IS Requirements Manager, helping out by answering questions in the Q&A section of this. So you should be able to see at the sidebar, you've got a question and answer panel. If you have any questions during this, feel free to post something in there, and one of those two will hopefully get back to you. We're also using all the questions that we get from these sessions to help populate an FAQ. So it's really useful if you think of anything that I don't cover. Just to give you a quick overview of what we're doing, we're going to take a look at the interface for Teams to start off with, and there's sort of two main sections for that. There's a chats section, which is for individual messages and calls. And then there's a Teams section, which is really where you can use sort of this workspace to collaborate with your colleagues. So within Teams, there are channels. We'll have a look at those, and we'll also take a look at how you can manage members, change the settings on your teams and your channels, and then also how you can create and schedule meetings in Teams. So Teams is really useful for setting up remote meetings and video conferences. There's a few different sort of use cases for Teams. We've got professional service departments and just general staff teams, and there's also academic teams where we've set up modules for teaching purposes. So I'll take a little bit of a look at both of those. I don't know quite what the split is with people and how you're intending to use it, but we'll try and cover everything here. Right, now hopefully now you can see my screen here, and I'm in the Office 365 homepage. So this is if you log into office.com with your Kent account, you'll get to this homepage. And I just wanted to show you this because Teams is part of the Office 365 suite of products. So when you log in online, you'll see you have the option to access Teams there. So when you go into Teams, this is the interface that you get, and you can use Teams online, or you can install the desktop app. I'm going to use it online for this session because I'm actually using the desktop app to broadcast, but I'd recommend installing it if you're going to be using it, because first of all, it will allow you to have notifications. It'll start up just with your PC, and it'll also work a little bit better for video meetings. If you've got more than one person that you're talking to, the browser will only show one video screen at a time, whereas the desktop app will show more. It does come with desktop versions for Windows and Mac, so it doesn't matter which you're on, and you can also install it on mobiles as well, and that's both Android and iPhone. So with the interface, you've got this search bar up at the top, and then you've got a navigation panel down the very left-hand side here. The search bar at the top is a universal search, really. You can look for people, you can look for messages, and you can also search for files in there if you've got files stored on Teams. But if I type someone's name, like Tim, I can find him there, click on him, and I can carry on a chat that I've previously had with him. Down the side, these are sort of the main areas in Teams. Now, the first bell here, the activity bell, is anything that's recently happened in Teams that is relevant to you. So anything where someone's replied or reacted to a message, or someone's mentioned you, that will appear here. So people can directly kind of mention, and I'll show you how that works in a little bit. The chat section is all the individual messaging. So this is very much a replacement for Skype for Business, if you've used that, and effectively covers all the use cases that had. It's got direct video calling or audio calling, and you can have group chats as well. So if I add in someone else into this using this add people button here, Judy, and then that would take us to a group chat with Tim and Judy. And you can rename group chats as Judy has recently. There we go. So chat is all the individual side of things. Teams are, oh, there we go, got a new message from Tim popping up there. Anything that you send in a chat will alert you to let you know someone's contacted you there as well. Teams are basically areas where you can communicate and collaborate with people. There's a couple of different views, actually. I've just realized this is not the standard view. Normally when you see it and go in first, it will look like this, and you'll have a grid view of all your teams. And I'm going to join this team. So this is just a demo team that we've got set up for this session. Okay, so when you're in a team, there's basically a public area for everyone to post messages in, and any member of the team can see that. These areas are divided up into what are called channels. So you can see on this team at the side, I've got this sort of big empty space here. That's because in this team, there's only one channel at the moment, and teams just start off with a general channel. So everything gets posted in here until anything else, any other channels get added. In your channel, you've got tabs up at the top. Now, these two tabs are the most important, posts and files. Posts are all the conversations that happen, and you can start a new conversation or you can reply to a previous conversation. So if I click down at the bottom, you can see that's posted a new message, and anyone can see that who's in the channel. What that won't do, though, is it won't alert everyone who's in the team that that message has appeared. They have to actively be viewing the team and to read it to be able to see that. What you can do instead, though, is if you reply to someone directly like this, it carries on this thread or this conversation. And anyone in that conversation will get notified that updates have happened here. So that's kind of intentional, because if you're a member of lots of teams and those teams have lots of channels in, you don't necessarily want to get notified about every time someone posts in any of those channels. If you want to draw someone's attention, you can use an @mention though. So if I want to draw Judy into this conversation, I can @mention Judy because she's a member of this team. And that will send her an alert. And what at mentions look like for the person that receives them, if I scroll up, there you go, you can see that was an at mention of me, and you get that red symbol at the side just to alert you, as well as something appearing in your activity. And you can see those kind of red notifications will pop up whenever there's something new happening. So there was obviously a message that I didn't read in the chat. Oh, there we go, Judy's messaged me there. Okay, so back in the team, you can see Judy's replied down there in this conversation. And after a while, the conversations will get sort of concatenated. So you'll see the first and the last message, but if you want to read all the replies in between, you just have to expand them. So that's the Posts tab. Up here, we've also got Files. So files are obviously a place to store files, but the key thing about that is it's a shared area rather than tied to anyone's individual account. So if you upload a file here, anyone in the team can access it. You can upload through File Explorer. If I go to my drive, there you go. If I've got files here, you can just drag and drop them in. And you can do that with folders as well, so it doesn't just have to be individual files. So both Judy and Tim would now have access to all these files, as would anyone else that I added into the team. And one of the really nice things about Teams is you don't have to leave it to take a look at files. You can go in, click on a file, and it will open up within the Teams interface. If it's a Microsoft file, that is. So if it's Excel, Word, PowerPoint, there we go. You can see I've got the PowerPoint sort of menu and all the commands within Teams here. So that's really nice for letting you quickly edit that without leaving the app. You can also collaboratively edit any documents that are stored on Teams. So if I wanted to work on an Excel file, for instance, at the same time as someone else, I could open it up and if I go over to this conversation button here, I can actually mention someone, Tim. Well, Tim's already ahead of me. He's jumped in the file already, but you can see when I mentioned it there, it sent him a link to the file, so he would have only needed to click on that to jump into the file. And he's editing this in real time at the same time as me, so I can make changes. Same time Tim has. And you can have more than two people in as well. You'll be able to see whoever's in the document up at the top, and that works if you want to edit it in the full desktop app as well. So if I wanted to actually open this in kind of real Excel, I can go up here, edit in Excel, and that will open up the desktop app. One thing when you're editing like this is it will autosave any changes that you make. So you just need to be a little bit wary that anything you do in the within Teams or within the browser will save automatically. There we go. I've got Judy in here now as well, so all three of us editing at the same time. If you've ever used Google Docs to collaboratively edit, it's a very similar experience to that. Okay.
James, can I just interrupt a second, please?
You may, certainly, Tim.
I know that several people have been experiencing co-editing issues of Word documents through Teams. I had a query about it this morning and it explained about opening it in the browser. Did you want to explain that? Because it can sort of spook people a little bit at first.
Yeah, that's a good point. At the moment, yeah, Microsoft have turned off editing within Teams for Word documents, and I understand that's a temporary change, and it seems to only be affecting education licenses. But at the moment, if you go into a Word doc, you'll be able to read it, but you won't be able to edit it in Teams. You have to go to the three dots here, and you can open it in the browser, or you can open it in the desktop app. If you open it in browser, it'll just open it up in a new tab like this, and you can still have multiple people editing it at the same time. It's still stored on Teams. So the only downside is that you can't have the simultaneous conversation at the moment, which you can if you're editing it within here. So that's a temporary thing at the moment. Hopefully that will change fairly quickly, but you do need to actually open them up in browser or in app with Word documents.
James, can I just interrupt now? Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely, Julie.
Can I just ask, we haven't had any questions yet, so if anyone wants to send a test question, just so we can check it is actually working okay.
Okay, yeah, so you should see the Q&A at the right side. If you don't have it, if you hover over the screen and go to the control panel that pops up, there should be a button that looks a bit like a speech bubble with a question mark. If you click on that, it should bring the QA up. Okay, just to jump back into Teams here. If you want to add any channels to your team, you can go to the ellipsis menu by the team name here, and you've got the ability to add members in here or add channels to the team. So if you want to add new members, it's really easy. Go there, type a name in. So let me try adding someone. And you can choose whether that person is a team member or a team owner. Now, the difference is that owners will be able to add more people in. So I'm an owner for this team, which is why I can add people in. If you're a member, you'll be able to do some things. You'll be able to work with all the files. You'll be able to post messages and all that, but you won't be able to add new members. So adding channels just gives you new areas to work in, and it's, again, pretty simple here. All you need to do is give it a name, and a channel could be a group of people within that team that sort of need to collaborate a lot. It could be a specific topic, or it could be for a specific project. So let's just give that channel a name there, and then most channels you set up will be standard, accessible to everyone on the team. There is the option to have private channels, and that's locked down to only certain members of the team. So a standard channel will be open to everyone. Let's add that in. And you can see now it appears down the side next to general. And you have a new place to start conversations, so a new post section here and a new files tab. So your channels also act a bit like the top level of your folder structure. if you set up a private channel, you have to choose who joins that channel from your team members. So just add Judy in here. And you can see that it gets that padlock symbol to let you know that it's a private channel. With all your channels, you can actually decide whether you want to get notifications from them or not. So the default behavior, like I mentioned, is you won't get notified if someone puts a new post in. But if you want to keep an eye on a channel and get notified every time someone puts a message in there, you can go to the ellipsis next to it, go to notifications and choose whether new posts give you notifications. So you've got off the only show in feed, which will mean you get sort of notification dots in the app. They'll show up, but you won't get desktop notifications popping up. Whereas banner and feed means that you'll get notification banners pop up at the bottom of your screen. You can also choose to show or hide channels that other than the general channel. The general channel is always showing, but if I go to here, Project 101, if you've got loads of channels in a team, you might want to start hiding them if you don't use specific ones, and you can decide whether they're hidden or shown like that.
James, can I just quickly add, when you just added that project to me, Project 101, sorry, channel, it appeared as a hidden channel by default, so people will have to unhide it.
That's a really good point. Yeah, when you add the channel, you get this tick box down at the bottom that I glossed over there. If you don't check that, it will appear as hidden for everyone else once you add the channel in. So there's a few more settings that you can have a look at in Teams as well. So back to this sort of ellipsis menu, and if we go to Manage Team, you'll be able to see all the members and all the owners. And members can also see this, which is quite useful because it means you can always tell who's an owner for a team. You can always find that out. But the owners will be able to add more members, and they'll be able to change people between owner and member status. So you can turn someone into an owner just by going there, selecting owner, and that will move them up. So if I make Judy an owner, there we go. You can have a look at the different channels, and again, here it will tell you what type of channel they are, whether they're automatically displaying for members. So because I didn't tick that, they're not, this project channel isn't auto showing. And you can just control here whether they're shown in your sidebar. So that's the same as showing or hiding through the menu. In this settings tab, if you're a team owner, you can control lots of the different settings for members. Now, for normal staff groups, all these settings will pretty much all be on for members, including that one. I think I turned that off recently, but members will be able to add channels, they'll be able to add tabs, they'll be able to delete and edit messages. If you're using a module team that was set up and populated with students, so that's for anyone who's using Teams for teaching, all of these settings are turned off apart from the option to delete messages. So it looks like that for the academic modules. and that's just to limit students' ability to add lots of things into a team that shouldn't necessarily be there. It is possible to add external people into teams as well, and they're given guest permissions, so you can control guests with a couple of options. You don't have many extra options for them. To add someone in as a guest, you just add them as a member normally. So if I go to members, add member, and all you need to do is type an external email address. So I use my own Gmail. You can see that would add me in as a guest because it's not a Kent address. I would send them an email with an invite that they can click on and use that to join the team. Obviously, you need to be careful adding guests in because they will be able to see all the files in your channels unless they're a private channel. So if you're collaborating with external people, whether that's a research project or whatever external collaboration you need, it might be best to get a new team for that if you don't want them to see everything that's in an existing team. If I jump back into the settings quickly, there is a fun stuff section. So this by default is left on for all the teams, so you can add GIFs and stickers into team chats. For the student modules, these have been turned off by default. There is also a team code, and that can be generated as a way to let lots of people add a team. If you want to sort of have a very open team with lots of people in a department, you can generate that, send that code round, and people can add that. Back in the front page of the Teams interface, where you've got this up in the corner, join a team, you can use the code in there. Now, again, you want to be a little bit careful setting that up because anyone in the organization can use that code if they get it, and that includes students. You will see them in the team membership, but it's there we go. You can see Tim's added a GIF in just to demonstrate that fun stuff. And if I jump back to settings, where I have the team code there, once you've generated it, you can remove it afterwards to stop people being able to use it and join the team. Okay, so that's the majority of sort of what I wanted to look at with the team section. There's a few other bits. So if you want to, you can add extra tabs up at the top. Now, at the moment, there's not a lot you can do with that, but what you can do is add a file as a tab. So if you have a particularly important file that you want to draw everyone's attention to, you can select it, and up here you can see we've got this option, make this a tab. So if I click on that, now in this channel I've got post files. This staff notebook is a default tab that appears, and we're not using that, but you can, if you want to, set up a OneNote on your team as a place to take notes. But there we go. I've also got this tab here, which is just the Word document. It's not done anything with that document. It's still stored in the same place, it just signposts it.
James, can I interrupt again? Sorry, because that's really interesting about the tab there with the document. Am I right in thinking that you cannot put a document there in a read-only mode?
If you had, so at the moment, obviously the Word document is read-only because of the current limitations. If you added an Excel or a PowerPoint up there, no, it wouldn't be read-only. It would be editable. If you've got something like a PDF, actually that won't let me make it a tab, so it clearly has to be a Microsoft document. But yeah, if I added a PowerPoint up there, it is in edit mode. Same with an Excel.
No, James, sorry, interrupt again, James. You can add a PDF in there, I think. You can add a tab PDF.
Oh yes, so yeah, you can.
There
we go. Strangely, you have to do it that way rather than going through the Files tab, but there we go. So if you've got a PDF, quick start guide for Teams now. And you can see that when I do that, actually it posts it in the channel in the posts. Okay, so to move on and have a look at the calendar, this is really just a link to your Outlook calendar, and it doesn't have all the functionality of Outlook. You can only see yours. You can't see any shared mailbox calendars or shared calendars. But what you can do through here is schedule meetings. So at the top, you've got two buttons. You've got Meet Now, which will just create an instant private meeting, or you can schedule a meeting in. If I do that, you can give it a title as per normal. Add attendees. Got date and time, and then you've got the option to add a channel in. So this is the little bit of extra functionality that Teams brings. If you have a channel where you want to sort of host a regular meeting, you can put that into your meeting here, and anyone who has access to that channel will be able to join it. So it saves you from having to invite everybody individually up at the top. You can just point to that, and I'm just going to try and meet in this general channel. And then if you've got a physical location, you can put it in there, otherwise just leave it blank, and you've got meeting details down here. It is possible to schedule Teams meetings in Outlook as well. If you've installed Teams, you'll get a button in Outlook that says schedule team meetings, and effectively that will do the same thing as this. So let's put that in the calendar. That will schedule the meeting, and it'll invite Judy and Tim. And you can see now, if I jump back to Teams, it's put a notification in this channel because I said meet in this channel, and we've got that test meeting there, and I can just click here to join it. Now we are also live broadcasting at the same time as trying to have a meeting, so I apologize if this doesn't go entirely smoothly, but we'll try hosting this meeting. And there we go. Hi, Tim. So within the meeting, you've got all the normal options you'd expect. You can turn your camera and microphone on and off, but you can also share content. So if you click on that, you have the option to share your screen or just share a window. So if you've got your entire screen, you've got application windows, or you can even just share a specific Chrome tab. If you've got any PowerPoint presentations stored on the team, you can present those as well. So if I open up that PowerPoint, there we go. I'm now presenting this. Anyone in the meeting would see this and they just have my voice at this point. The other things you can do on here, you can start recording. So you can record meetings. If you do that, everyone will get a notification banner up at the top to let them know that you're recording, with a link to the privacy policy there. Anyone in the meeting can start or stop the recording. So even though I've started this, Tim or Judy would be able to go to their actions and click stop recording if they wanted to. And all the while you're recording, you'll get, oh, I think someone just stopped the recording, because I was going to say while the recording's in process, you'll see a red dot is always present on the screen to let you know. Okay, just to jump back to the share, one other thing that I missed out is you can start something called a whiteboard. So a whiteboard is basically just a drawing canvas that anyone in the meeting can draw on. So if you want to try and use it for diagrams, that's the idea behind this. Oh, there we go, and I think Judy and Tim have already started. Okay, so if I want to exit out of that and get back to the camera feeds, I just need to stop presenting and that will jump back. You can also add people mid-meeting to the meeting. So if I bring up this people panel, you can type someone's name in, type Linda in, I'd be able to click there and invite her. Okay, I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to show you about meetings. If I hang up now, any messages that got sent in the meeting would appear here, and we've also got the recording available. Now at the moment, if you do a recording, there'll be a message that says failed to upload to Stream. And that's nothing to worry about. Stream is basically a product that we haven't enabled yet at Kent, and that's a video hosting service that's part of Office 365. At some point that will get turned on, and meeting recordings will be available to view on there to anyone that was in the meeting. But for the time being, all you need to do is click download, and that will download an MP4 file that you can rewatch or put somewhere available for other people if you want to. Okay, so those are team meetings, and they can support up to 250 people, so you can have quite a few people in a team meeting at once. Like I said before, if you use this to meet with multiple people, it is a good idea to download the client. It works a little bit better than the web does. Okay, so the other bits of the interface we've got down the side, the calls is just a quick way to start a video or audio call with your contacts. So there's nothing particularly special there. That effectively is doing the same thing as going to your chat and clicking the buttons up here. And your Files tab is just a nice way to access any recent files that you've opened up in Teams. So normally you'd access them through the team, but if you just want to quickly jump back to something rather than navigating into the right channel, you can just go to Files and pick it out of your recent. Okay. That's the majority of what I wanted to show you within Teams. I'm just going to point you to a few resources we've got as well. So if I bring this slide up, there is a Teams guide for staff online. If you search Teams on the Kent website, it's the first link, so it's quite easy to find, and it's got information about how to access, how to you work with files on there, how to hold meetings, how to add channels. So there's plenty of information on there if you're not sure how to do something. We've also got an FAQ that is currently in progress. There's a lot of questions on there already that we've answered, and as I mentioned at the start, if you have anything from this session, we'll try to add that into this. So you just need to log in. Everyone should have access to this, and this is the Office 365 FAQ, so there is a section on Teams here, and there's 19 questions on there at the moment that will, like I say, be adding to this sort of over the next week or so. Finally, there's a lot of Microsoft materials out there, so if you're not sure how to do something or you want to check something, that's often a good place to start, is just Microsoft's support website. So that's support.office.com. And there's plenty of short videos actually down here if you go to Microsoft Teams training. These are sort of a couple of minute long videos on how to do specific things. There's a downloadable guide as well that's quite useful, gives you lots of sort of shortcuts and explains the interface. Lastly, I wanted to point out that most people at the moment can't create teams. That's started off being limited to directors and various people in departments that they've delegated that permission to. So if you want a new Teams site to be set up, contact your department administrator or the IT rep in your department if you have one, and they can liaise with the director. Okay, so I just want to check, Tim and Judy, are there any bits you wanted to add or any questions that's worth having a look at?
No, I think that was all good. Thanks, James.
Same here as well, James. Good job.
Okay, brilliant. Right. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. And yeah, I hope you enjoy using Teams.